do my own thing in life, and that's kind of the example, right? Is you gotta be an example to people. So these guys started a business from scratch and made it happen. Now my dad was telling me how well his employees are doing with selling hearing aids. So I'm proud of him. And I haven't been in Toastmasters, so this is my day of little Toastmasters. I'm just making that up because I'm free, right? So has anyone ever been in a How Money Works class or heard of one? Yeah? No?
I mean, I've definitely been in my fair share of money workshops, but not
Okay.
precisely
You just
this
have
one.
to
No.
No, it's okay. Well, Mark knows about money, so, all right, so I'm gonna get into it, based on time, I have to do that. And as I go through the slides, just to let you know if I go a little bit quicker at some points, at the very end, there's gonna be a QR code, so you can scan it, and you can get all the information electronically, so. All right, so these are some questions, I'm gonna try to not have my back to Mark. So ask yourself, how can I save for the future when I have so much debt? That's a big question, right? How much money is enough to retire? What if I got started late? Okay, if I die prematurely, what becomes of my family? We don't want to go fund me, for the family. Can I ever truly become financially secure? And so as we know, financials, to have those secure, you can have your emotional health pretty well compared to, where am I gonna get my next check, right? All right, so just some good news. You have the power to become financially independent. So now we feel really good we showed up to this room. You can get out of debt, you can build savings, and you can get on the path to financial independence. We don't want to be dependent on anybody, right? So now we're in January, and hopefully people set their New Year's resolutions, which should be like a daily one, just saying. And so the first thing, of course, is taking control, right? Like, what can I do to make changes because no one else is going to do this for me? So then we got a piggy bank. My mom's a horse rider, so she knows to, you put the bridle on and that's who's in charge, right? And then the bit in the mouth, right? Anyways, so we got piggy bank. So this is kind of surprising because we think of debt, our debt companies, right? What we pay out, we're like, they're coming out the 21st, they're coming out this date and that date, so I better have that money reserved first, right? And then we don't realize, okay, this is the thing, pay yourself first, right? So we'll go over why, okay? So these are 3 different accounts that you need to have. As we know, if there's an emergency, most of America is going straight for the credit card. They didn't realize they need to build an emergency account. So minimum of 3 months of income for purchases within 0 to 2 years. So think about all the things that are an emergency situation, like a tire blows out. How much is that today, right? You don't want the credit card going for that. So think of that short-term account, so minimum 6 months of income for purchases within 3 to 5 years. It might be a vacation coming up, a smaller purchase, but big enough that you don't want the checking account touched. So start saving for that. And number 3, wealth building account. So have enough money to retire in dignity and enjoy your life. So instead of retirement these days, we call it rehirement, right? You got, all of those working because welcome to Walmart, right? And they're usually not there because they want to be. Any Walmart creator that says, I love working at Walmart, right? They try to, and that's very sweet of them to do that, but we know they don't usually want to be there. So let's see here. So I'm going to help out with these on what to do, okay? All right, so what's really getting us from wealth building, right, is those debts, okay? The average American is in these kind of situations, and we've seen a lot worse, where credit card on top of credit card, and then we're like, okay, you have a Macy's card. Well, Macy's I think exists still, but anyways. So this is a typical family out there. Has anyone heard of debt stacking? Okay. Well, hey, if you have it, you've heard. Yeah.
It's known by other phrases also.
Well, it's snowballing, but Dave Ramsey got it from. He used to work.
Debt stacking, that's a nice word.
Well, Dave Ramsey changed it. He used to work with our company, but we don't advertise, so he just changed it. So he got it from us. So, yeah, but that's what it is. So good.
Robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, pretty
Sometimes.
much. So that's what we usually do. This should work. It's okay. You guys could see that. So anyways, you got all the debts. This does not exist in hardly anyone's head, right? Because they don't know about debt stacking. So they're just over here paying out, and most of the time everyone's paying out these minimum payments because things are getting more expensive, interest rates are through the roof, and it's hard to afford more than the minimum payment. So what you do is you pay off that first credit card, okay? This is called the target account, where you pay the minimum on all those, but you throw money at that. If you can throw $5, for goodness sakes, everything goes far. And then eventually you're gonna pay off that 220 credit card, and you're gonna take the 220 and you're not gonna go like, yes, I'm gonna do something else with this, I'm gonna have enjoyment, right? So you don't do that, because you're used to doing it anyways, right? You're used to paying that up. So 573 is from that credit card 2 and the credit card 1. So if you think about it, that's a lot more than the minimum payment going towards that credit card, okay? I'm gonna have fun with the other one, like the car payment. So before the car payment was 551, now you got these two plus the 551. And I kind of wonder about this, but the car loan company, whoever's financing it, they might be calling you and saying, why are you paying $11.50 or $11.24 towards this car loan? We agreed to $551, and that's because they make their money off interest. And you're like, you know what? We went to this financial wellness workshop and we learned something, so I have more money to throw at this. And I'm like, oh man, you're educated. That's why. And so anyways, that's pretty cool, right? So then of course you got the next one and the next one. So instead of $12.93, you got $27.20 going towards your mortgage. So let's just see what happens when compared to no debt stacking to debt stacking, okay? Pay off 24 years if you stayed with just minimum payment. Interest avoided, obviously nothing. Okay, and interest paid, oh my goodness, that's a scary thing, right? It's almost like checking the weight scale, but majorly worse. You don't want to know. So 212,000, and okay, so over here, debt stacking, 9 years, 15 years sooner. Interest avoided, $130,000. Interest paid, only 82 compared to that, right? And it's the same money. Like, think about what a difference it makes to know, okay, what should I pay off first, you know? And how much sooner are we gonna get out of debt? Whether it's reminding yourself or the person you're in business with, like it might as well be your spouse, right? You're in life business with them if you're not in business, right? And you show them, okay, remember 15 years sooner? Excuse me, I'm clicking buttons. Anyway, 15 years sooner, yeah, we're gonna stay with this. So stop spending money, right? And they're like, oh man, that's right. So you have them, something to hold them accountable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if not, you're kind of just like, I hope they get it. They don't. Okay, so rule of 72. Has anyone heard of the rule of 72? Okay, 3 of you. Okay.
I've heard the rule of 90.
Okay.
That's a
Hey,
teacher.
there's a rule of something. That's good to hear. Rules, surprisingly, they're good to keep. So discover the rule of 72. Has anyone heard of Benjamin Franklin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I think so. I like
he made this very popular, but still, they like hide it. It's really weird. But again, it's all these companies making money off us. That's why they're hiding it. So what it is divide your rate of return you're getting in your investment account by 72 to find the approximate number of years it takes your money to double. That's pretty important, isn't it? We only have so many years. We can't go back to the past and say, okay, I need a restart. So as you can see, this is the thing on why we need to be in a good rate of return. So 3, if you're getting a 3%, into the number 72 is 24. It takes 24 years for your money to double. How many 24-year periods do we have in our life?
Maybe 3.
If you live long, right? No, right. So 40,000, so you got 40,000, yay, in 48 years, welcome to Walmart. Not too exciting. 6%, that's a lot better than what a lot of banks are doing. I'm like, how loud am I now doing? So you think 6 into 72? 24, right? Okay, $40,000 there, 160,000. It's like, okay, well that's better. So you go on excuse me, man, I'm getting this clicker down. You go on a longer vacation than the other person, right? And then it's retirement again, okay? So 12, that's out there. The S&P has done it's been around 12% for over 100 years. So market goes up, market goes down, and I'll show you a slide about that. But it's averaged that, okay? So it is an existent. 12 into 72, 6 years. Woo-wee, a lot better. Look what happens at the end of this. 48 years down the road, $2.5 million. So, so could you see why the banks are like, yay, well, 6%, it's a little bit better than that. And they don't tell you about what they're making. So they 2.5 million minus 160, they're getting the difference. So hence why they're still in business, right? They're like, free checking account. And it's like, how are you making money? Wow, they're making money. So if you guys are interested in this, we can see what rate of return you're getting, and we can go over funds that match your goals. And it's free for us to check into that for you. And it's, if you think about it, it's like, what happens if I don't check into this? And my dad knows that that's because I was like, I know how to tell him about this, is I showed him the past of his funds that he was in versus our funds, and I'm like, Dad, you would have been over 20,000 ahead. So we can't predict the future, literally, in the investment industry, we're not allowed to. But what if this repeats itself? Do you want to be ahead or behind? And so obviously he made the move. And I'm like, I should have figured this out, how to tell him years ago. He'd be happy with me. Okay, so this is just looking at what $20 a month, our minimum funds, we do 25, which is like a gym membership. Actually, it's lower than a gym membership, isn't it?
Yeah.
My dad knows, he told me he's a part of 3 gyms, my goodness. Okay, so.
And how many do you go to?
All of them. Silver sneakers are free.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I used to be old.
His age qualified himself for silver sneakers. Yay, I'm not there yet, but anyway, so you got $20, let's see, 40 years, 94,000. If you didn't know the site existed, it's like, wow, that's something, right? Okay, but just $100, which people can find 100, right? That's like $25 a week, you know, that's not much of anything. Okay, so $100, 471,000 compared to 94,000.
And that's the other reason
And
that's
this-
notable is you said it's not much of anything, when in
Compared-
reality, kids today are dropping $25 a day
Oh.
on their
Yeah.
Starbucks or, you know, Dutch Bros or whatever.
Yeah.
Use it, put it to work for you.
Put it to work,
Come on.
yes, exactly. And
Yeah,
if
buy
you
one
didn't
coffee
know,
and then-
if you didn't know this existed, it's like, who knew? But you don't want to find out too late, because we can't repeat, you know, the past and say, I want a better chance at the past. So, and that's just a 9% rate of return, because we're supposed to not overpromise people and all that kind of stuff. So this number, based on what we have and the calculators and all that, that would be substantially higher. But still, you see my point there, right? So, all right, buying the right kind of life insurance. So I will say every company but ours sells term that ends at the end of the term, and that's it. And Mark knows that. It ends. That's why whole life is out there, plus all the expense of it. But our life insurance, I'll get into it, but we only believe in pure protection term life. And then if somebody needs it at the end of the term, we'll give them options to keep it. And, you know, it's a different story compared to the industry. All right, buy the right kind of life insurance. So a lot of people see life insurance as a debt, which is shocking, right? Okay, so we pay for the car insurance, right? How much is your car worth? You insure that, right? We all do. Well, legally we have to, and we're glad other people are covered because we don't want them to not pay us. How much is your house worth? Do you insure your house? Yes, right? Well, how much is your life worth? Probably a lot more than your car or your house, or you wouldn't have qualified to get either of them, right? So you are an income producer, right? Without you, that income's not coming in. So it definitely makes a lot more sense to insure what's paying for those things, right? So, let's see here. All right, what you should know about life insurance. What's its purpose? I just kind of explained it right there. It's a lot more than just funeral protection, right? It's also to pay off the house, take care of all sorts of things. You don't want your family to grieve and then lose what you guys built together. So you need to make sure that house and whatever your income's paying for is paid, right? It's a lot more healthy than a GoFundMe account that never will pay off the house. All right, what should you buy? Like I was saying, inexpensive term life insurance through our, I'm just saying, we'll compare it to the industry, but it's a lot better. All right, who should buy it? People with others depending on them, like I just mentioned. So just think about it. If you were, let's just say it was a toaster. We like the toaster one. If you had a toaster popping up $4,000 a month, we'll just say that. Every month, month in, month out, would you insure that toaster? To make sure it didn't break?
Sure.
kept popping out $4,000.
Yeah. Make sure it did. You see the toaster theory? That's
It's
fine.
the
Yeah,
toast,
yeah.
I don't know if it's it.
Even if it costed $500 a month, we'd probably still insure it, cause man, that's the difference of it's $3,500 still, if you think about it. And we always say, what if we can insure it, okay, and who acts as a toaster in your household? That's what I'm gonna ask.
Me.
Okay, don't be shy, everyone's like, well, you shouldn't admit it, she's gonna talk to us about life insurance. Anyway, so what we say is if we can insure your income for a whole lot less than that toaster theory, that's something you look into, right? So, it's kind of a no-brainer. I know, it's for your spouse or whoever relies on you. I'm your toaster, can you imagine? Maybe say that and then explain it later. You're like, what, you're my toaster? Okay, so which program would you
Yeah,
on?
I get home.
Yeah, I'm your toaster. We're like, what are you learning in those meetings? Okay, so on this side, we got universal index life insurance. Another word for it is whole life, and it's pretty self-explanatory. You're paying for your whole life, right? That's what that is. Okay, so this one, we're gonna go over apples to apples, because that's our primary goal in the beginning, is let's see what we can do, see if we can get it better. Okay, so this family right here, $250,000 is what covered them properly. They were age 35 in this one. Monthly premium, $251 a month. It's like, okay, wow, that seems like a lot of money. But what they're usually sold on is a cash value account, okay? So who doesn't like 2-for-1 deals? Like buy one, get one, and you're like, sign me up. I don't even know what it is, but I like buy BOGO, right? So that's what it is. It's sold as a savings account and life insurance, 2-for-1, $251. And it's like, okay, but people are not shown what's inside those policies, which is a few pages in, and what the rate of return really is on these compared to what will get them in the market. So at the age of 65, this couple would have $127,000. Okay, if they didn't know the site existed, right? It's like, hey, that's something. We might as well save in it, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna insure them for the same amount, $250,000, okay? Only $88 a month. 88 compared to 251. Okay, so we're gonna take the savings between the 251 and the 88, which is $163 a month. Invest at 9% in Roth IRA. That money grows to $300,649 compared to 127. Like a lot of, I don't know if everyone is good in math, but I wasn't when I was in school. But this is a piece of cake to understand, right?
So basically, you're
So-
saying if they use the difference and invest it properly.
Yeah.
That's a big, yeah, because a lot of people say, ooh, I only owe 88 a month, and then they've got money to play with instead.
Oh,
Buy their
well,
coffee.
we're gonna let them know if they don't implement the full financial plan, like, we don't wanna sell them the term, you know, because they need to do what's right for their family. Question?
Do you have time for a quick question?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think so, quick.
I was told that if you buy whole life and then you die, that the insurance company keeps the, I think it's the cash value, and then you get the 100,000, whatever.
The difference.
Yeah, so that's accurate on most of them, just the regular ones.
Yes.
There's ones people can pay even more than 251 in this example, and it's like the B option, there's A and B. So the person has to pay more money to get both. So, yeah,
And
that's
why
another.
The agents push whole life, whole life insurance.
Yeah, and all they sell is whole life, or excuse me, all they make their money off of most of the time is life insurance. So they have to make a living and they're sold to sell these because term life is paying not much of it, hundreds, while whole life is paying them thousands in commission. So they're like, I gotta put my family first most
One
of
of
the
the
time.
other parts of this that you can certainly take offline and talk to April about is that these illustrations talk about to age 65.
Mhm.
So the point there is that at age 65, your term life
Yes.
gets to its term, then the company will have to make you an offer as to what your new premiums are gonna be, right? And it's gonna be higher. The question is it double, triple, you know, or just incrementally higher? So that's a material part of that discussion, because you plan to live past 65?
Yeah. a lot
I'm
of
planning
people-
on doing at least 20 more years, hope, you know, Lord willing.
Yeah.
So that's a long time to be then paying a monthly bill that is way more than you originally thought. So that's an important part of that dialogue.
So, yeah, I'll mention on that, cause we're different than the
So
insurance.
if,
Good.
if you have, say, like, 250,000 of term insurance,
Mhm.
and you're probably more than halfway through, can you change your term insurance for a higher rate?
Can you do longer? Oh, up the term? Yeah, we can add coverage.
I think that should be pushed more than it is now.
Yeah, so we can add coverage. What's amazing, there's so many unique things this company does that I'm with. They do what's called an increasing benefit rider. So every year in the mail, you get something like a postcard, and it'll say $7 extra a month, for example, like a couple I just sat with, right? For an extra 25 grand, $7, no medical required. And what if something happened with your health? You actually get an offer every year until if you decline it, you don't get it anymore, but still. So it's raising your coverage amount, right? And inflation moves up, so yeah, it's a good question. But yeah, you can add more to it. We just do what your current age is. And your, it's kind of almost like a mortgage, it's kind of cute. But basically your first one that you signed up with coverage wise, so say it was 250,000, okay? That will still be that age. We won't renew the whole thing and make you, later on in life age wise and up the premium for that original amount. It will stay based on when you signed up for it. Yeah. And so there's unique ways to build it, so that's why we're looking at the full financial picture. The thing about a lot of insurance agents, they just sell insurance, so it's understandable that they aren't looking at the investment side, right? They're not looking at all sorts of other things, because it's not their company, right, that does it. So these are great questions, yeah.
So my son, Air Force, decided, because he's in Air Force and he has life insurance through Air Force, he canceled his life insurance at an early age. Because of that, and I was like, oh no, you wanna hang on to it, because you're not gonna be in the Air Force forever,
Mhm.
and then that base pay, that base price would have stayed the same, so now at whatever he will be 40,
Mhm.
it'll be different.
Yep, it transfers
Start
to
again.
VGLI, so
Yeah.
they're a veteran now, right? And it's of course
Oh,
more
that's true.
expensive, and so for them to, God willing, that they keep it and you don't want them to pass sooner, I'm like, God willing, and he sends them off sooner than later and they take advantage, it's like, no, that's not good. But, they can get the term life through us, and then if something happens sooner than later and they're still in the military, before VGLI, which is really expensive, so they're active duty, they can keep that policy and get term through us, so our term is gonna be foundational to last them. And then SGLI, they can keep that at the same time, and then, we'll work it out. So, yeah, we'll find out what their mortgage is, is it 30 years down the road, do they got 20 years left? And we'll match it and make adjustments. But yeah, and then end of term EOT, they're gonna get a letter in the mail with two different offers, and then one is left blank in case they don't want those two offers, and then we can put in their age and how much they want, and we can write in how much they decide on based on what they can afford and what their goals are. So, yeah, and Mark knows I have a guy for out on home, but Mark's cool, I might refer him, right? The last one, we just did an up for end of term premium, and they still need a lot of coverage. And then made a call, got their home down by $103 a month. So that took a lot off of what the new premium would be. And so, again, we look at the full picture. I'm like, okay, where can we save you money? So it wouldn't be as much of a shock if they still need it. And they weren't investment clients. They were part of a congregation I had been a part of for years. And so when I talked to them for the first time, they were already a lot older. He used to work at Idaho Power, so the income is not as substantial. So they still needed it. We do as much as we can do, so, yeah. These are good questions. Raise your hand if you need me to pause and answer something, so. All right, let's see here. Yeah, never buy life insurance as an investment. So the agents, Mark knows, he's in the industry, that they're not allowed to tell people this is an investment account. So they'll just play with it. They'll say it's a savings account, you know, you get a rate of return off of it. The other thing, the rate of return in these things, I don't, Mark's seen, but it, you know, up to maybe 6%. We just went over what 6% does, right? Compared to what the market does. And then if you need money out of your savings account, it's the 3 banking rules. We call it 3 funny banking rules. Okay, if you go into a bank and you're putting in $251 a month, right? And an emergency happens, and you're building your emergency fund, and you're like, you know, I have that savings inside my life policy. Okay, there's rules with the savings. You actually have to pay it back. Like, do you borrow your own money? Would you like to go into the bank? And they're like, yeah, we'll process that for you. First off, it could take up to 6 months. 6 months. They literally legally inside the policy, it says up to 6 months. To get your own money, and then you gotta pay interest on it. Would you do any banking with a bank that does that to you?
No.
No. So they are not trying to, they're trying to sell people on this stuff, not say there's these banking rules inside of it, you know?
Well,
Because
and
nobody
when
would wanna buy
The
it,
savings,
so.
when you, I just recently looked at one of these and it was, 200,000 in coverage, did have a long-term care thingy with it. But as you got older, so it earned money for quite a while, but by the time I'm 95, it's gone.
Oh, that's like, are you talking universal?
I don't know.
Like where they
I
stay
don't know
up
what
there.
it was called,
Those
but it
are
was like,
evil to me. I hate those policies with a
Yeah.
passion. They start upping your premium, and they're only charging you what they said they would charge you. And since
but
your
the
premium's
cost
up,
of insurance was,
and
yeah,
it's like, where are they getting the difference? My bank account still says the original premium, but they're draining the savings account.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Then you don't get any more coverage because they said, well, your savings at 0 now, and your premium's now 400 something.
yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
what? What
It was,
happened?
yeah.
You know, anyway, yeah, great question.
I've heard it's best to stay away from those types of insurance plans because they tend to pay the agent more than, because one, it's hard to understand, and two, it's built for the agent.
Yeah, yeah. And to do the cost of insurance, like I've seen these things, right? We've actually taken people's policies because they're like, just take our policy. You wrote us a new one. This thing is terrible. So we're like, we use it for training. So we have actual real policies. And the cost of insurance, it will be a page and it will say like 0.00732, blah, 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 times, and then you're supposed to do times 1,000, right? If you had 1 million, right? For example, or 750. To do the calculation, it's not like calculated for you where it's clear as day. You have to actually know how to calculate this stuff.
And most don't.
It's just ridiculous. It's a scheme, and literally there's a book called The Games and Schemes of the Cash Value or the Whole Life Insurance industry. So, but yeah, like I said, we work with a full financial plan, and so when insurance agents are just selling, insurance, they're selling as good as they can sell, right? If they don't sell investments, like they can't help people at the end. If they don't have a company that does end of term options, like Mark knows, it cuts off, and so they look out, well, some of them look out for the best interest of the person. So I'm just letting people know there's some good agents. But yeah, never buy life insurance as an investment, and we know why. Deferred taxes, who doesn't like saving on their taxes? Especially us business owners. Oh, and this is the right time to mention it, right? It's like, oh, it's due in April. So this is how you could do it. There's also simple plans and SEP IRAs for business owners. So just letting you know if you have more to save than these plans. So traditional IRA, basically it's tax savings now and tax deferred until retirement. So we can, every year, we'll put how much you invested. And not only are you getting your investment for the year written off, where it doesn't count in your taxes, okay? But you're also saving in these funds where you're getting a great rate of return on top of saving money for your business, and then, so has everyone heard of traditional and Roth? Yeah. Mark's like, I've heard of everything, but it's you. You can still raise your hand. Okay. All right. And then Roth, anything outside of traditional, okay, well, Anything outside that, if you're looking for the tax savings now with your business and all that, you can do Roth as well. And if I can talk today, contributions are not tax deductible, but you receive tax deferral when you're at the end of it, and it's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. You don't have to pay taxes on this lump sum because you've pre-taxed it, like it's pre-tax. You've already paid it back in the day when you earned the money. Oh, and clicking buttons, and let's see if this one works. Nope, that one doesn't work.
We got
Hey,
about- we
you
got
don't
about-
have to work a slideshow to do well at
Hey,
this.
we got about 5 minutes.
I have 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, let me go, hey, it's probably a good thing that I know. All right, so, thanks guys for hanging in there with my slideshow.
Yeah, don't
The
forget
red
to go to
button
the
slideshow
slideshow.
on the top.
Yeah, there you go.
Should be this one, yay,
Yep.
phew. So a lot of people say that, you know, it's in the bank, yay. I'm not losing money because the market, you know, it's up and down, you know, that scare tactic that, and sometimes psychologically we fall into that. So if you think about the bank, let's say you had 10,000 sitting around in there, you earn interest for the year, let's say it was 1.5, that's $150 for the year, but then you pay taxes on the interest, that's negative 33, net earnings are only 117 bucks, resulting balance 10,017, but if you think about inflation, you're actually losing money, because everything's going up, so really your purchasing power is going down. So that is a risk, right? Keeping it in there. So invest in professional management. Let's see here. So individual investors. My dad was doing Vanguard. He knows about that. And what people are sold on is 0 fees. Well, yeah, pretty much almost 0 fees. So it's like, let's do it ourselves. But the thing is that nobody's watching your money and you're busy. So professional managed money, it's our job to watch your money, right? And this is in companies, a bunch of them. So if one's down in stock price, right, in value, the other ones are up. So it varies, you know, so you average out something. 150 stocks on average. So that's where you're getting basically a lot of protection, because a lot of companies could be up in value. Even if one's down, you're still getting a good rate, right? So, discipline, diversification, dollar cost averaging. Has anyone heard of dollar cost averaging? Okay, nice. So basically, whatever the market's doing, okay, because this one's rising market, these are people that are like, I need one that's just rising, right? I can't do the roller coaster. That's what they think. But this is investor A, investor B, both investing $100 a month. So if you think about this is going down in value, but you're still gonna have the same shares, okay, no matter what the market does. And the thing is when shares are on sale, so cost per share here, okay, this is investor B compared to cost of share here. So it's more expensive in investor A. But dollar cost averaging, with the market being low at times, the cost of them is lower, so you're buying on sale. So average cost per share, $4 compared to 14. So look at it, the accumulated shares are a lot more. So the value is actually higher. So no matter what the market's doing, don't get emotional. We always say hold. So think of that, hold, keep my money in there, invest. It's already a proven
I
system.
think a lot of it
You
has
can
to,
do it.
a lot of it has to depend on the personal, risk. What the person.
Oh, yeah,
What is your
risk.
tolerance for
It's
that?
called risk tolerance.
You know, how soon do
Yeah.
you need to have access to that money?
Yeah.
Because if you start getting really aggressive, and you're supposed to be pulling this out in 2 years,
Yeah.
you could be really hurting yourself.
Yeah.
Conversely though, you could, if you're not aggressive enough, and you have a long time horizon, then you could languish, you know,
Yeah.
so.
And so we're actually required to do surveys to you, and we ask questions. How long is it until you're planning to pull out money from this account? And we put them in, and they means the company. When we submit it, they'll review it and make sure we're doing, you know, what's best for the client. And we're legally accountable to that with FINRA, so that's a good thing, right? So the path to financial independence starts with understanding a few basic concepts and implementing them. Winning the financial war is the result of winning tiny battles day to day, and everybody knows that. And Mary, if you think about health, it's like, all right, and my mom says this, like, you got one day at a time. So don't be like, all right, I gotta do all these things, right? So there's so many ways we can do an analogy on that. All right, so this is that QR code where you can get to this website, and you can actually get the book downloaded. All the slides, the whole book. You just scroll down just a tad and it'll allow you to download the copy. So let's see here. So yeah, I definitely gave you guys surveys for a reason, and if you want a complimentary financial plan,